Welcome to the Mundus Fractura Lore Guide. This week on Lore Guide, we will take a look at the Western Vale passes. The three passes of the Western Vale being the Shifting Gap, the Vile, and the Impossible Pass, are the only known surface routes from the region to the coastal lands of Mundus Fractura beyond. Of the three routes, it is widely considered that the Shifting Gap is the safest of them. The Shifting Gap is touted as the path of pain and regret rather than certain death. Though this is far from a singing endorsement, it is reasonably accurate. Travelers of the Shifting Gap report flash floods, mundus quakes, giant raiders, and a high possibility of Frumefni encounters among the dangers. Of all the routes out of the Vale, the Shifting Gap Pass has the most hours of daylight due to its primarily east-west orientation. And though they are few, the path is further preferred for the amenities it boasts. These include several landslide tunnels, fortified roadside turnout rest areas, and a small permanent habitation known as Knoll Unman, or the house in the middle of nowhere. This large stone manor house was said to have been built in the days when giant kind controlled this pass back in the 9th era. It now serves as a 150-room inn, stable, tap house, and rest point, owned and operated by a pair of uncharacteristically short, stocky, grizzled old elven brothers named Elic Nosirum, the elder, and Nair Nosirum, the younger. It is said that the brothers bicker incessantly and even occasionally break out into impromptu scuffles, but that they are among the kindest and most hospitable individuals on the planet, treating each traveler that reaches their doorstep as most would treat beloved visiting relatives. The brothers Nosirum and a small staff have spent the better part of a millennium tending to the house and meager lands of Knoll Unman, growing crops of cave wheat and ambrosia fungus, tending to their herds of cave alpaca and cattle, and always to the needs of their guests. If you have the time and need to cross in or out of the Vale, though it is not particularly safe, the Shifting Gap is by far the worst option. The second of the Breathless Peaks passes is known as the Vile Pass. In the years before the discovery of the Impossible Pass, the Vile Pass was so named because it was the more vile of the two options. The Vile Pass is known to the dwarves as the path on which you will die alone, or on which you will likely die with friends. By this, the dwarven people intended to remember that the Vile Pass should never be traversed alone. Due to its north-south orientation and the height of the primordial pillars which flank it, the Vile Pass does not receive more than a few fleeting moments of light a day, and in some spots, none at all. The glorified goat path that is dubbed a road through the pass is at an elevation which is barely tolerable to most races, with the obvious exception of the Goliath. The path is bitterly cold year-round, frequently dangerously icy, and occasionally impassable due to noxious, sulfurous vapors. Amenities are simply non-existent, as no one has been able to establish any with any degree of long-term success. And finally, if the road itself doesn't kill you, the predatory creatures which inhabit either end of the path may. All manner of dragons, giant birds, choking vines, and a vast array of aberrant animals lurk in the cliffsides in want of an easy meal. Though the dwarves' adage is correct, and the odds of surviving the passage do improve slightly with a party or caravan, it isn't a guarantee. The Vile Pass is, well, vile. Moving to the deep southern Vale and the realm of Adamurk, we come to a pass that I would just rather you not even know about. Welcome to the Impossible Pass. Should you be able to reach the pass from the Adamurk Vale side, you will have passed your first two impossible tests. You have navigated the most vile realm on Mundus, and you have found a path through the southern nameless mountains and located the pass's nearly undetectable twisting entrance. The Impossible Pass shares many similarities to the Vile Pass. It features a north-south orientation which receives little to no light. It has a high elevation and a bitterly cold, thin atmosphere. But where the Impossible Pass differs is perhaps its most deadly feature. The pass is a braided maze of corridors, dead ends, and loopbacks. Yet to make matters worse still, from eons of fine silica dust laden past winds, many of the primordial residuum columns are polished to a near-mirror finish. Paths that seem real readily lead to falls into the abyssal canyons and the deep black far below. Some particularly confusing sections will have even well-prepared seasoned travelers walking in circles for days. The paths through the pass are littered with the bones and desiccated corpses of past travelers. The south side access point from the non-Vale side, though near inviting in its approach, is not any easier, but it too quickly devolves into madness and regret. Like the many lures of the hidden treasures of Idamerk, the Impossible Pass dangles the temptation of riches for those who can perfect this one and only known southern route to the coast. My advice on the Western Vale passes would be this: stay home and read a book. That is all for this time. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for future lore guide shorts, and thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.